He knew about Josh Allen's right shoulder. He still showed up as fully participating in practice with the right shoulder, even though they were off in Week 13. One of the surprises, and I always do this on the Wednesday injury report, I look for quarterbacks to pop up that weren't previously on there. And there's Patrick Mahomes, fully participating in practice with a pectoral injury. They don't say whether it's left or right. Probably an important distinction for a guy who uses his right arm to throw the football. But we didn't know he was injured. I don't know how bad it is. It didn't limit him in practice. But, year of quarterback injury, Chris, why not have two of the best injured when Week 14 rolls around? It's fitting in with everything else that's happened this year. But the good news is they're both on track to not be slowed down, to not miss any game time because of these injuries.
Yeah, I don't expect anything to happen here. I mean, first off, these are two gym rats who are obsessed with the game, and I mean, they got to have a limb falling off for them not to play in the game. Allen has been dealing with this a little bit, so we know he's capable of that. Mahomes, yeah, it's kind of surprising, right? And you're right. I mean, if it's the right pectoral and, as a throwing arm, right, I know I'm lefty, but to do that, you do get a tremendous stretch through that pec there. And then, of course, you get a lot of flexing as you're coming forward to throw the ball and release it. So that could be extremely uncomfortable. And I wonder when he did that. I didn't see him do anything. I do wonder if it was that hit that he was not, out of bounds with that he called a penalty. When I first saw it, that's what I thought of. Getting hit like this and maybe the reshock into the arm and everything there made his pec sore. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But either way, both guys better be on their A game. We know it's a big football game. It is. Bills trying to fight for their playoff life. Chiefs trying to stay alive for the number 1 seed and hope that they can close the ground between the Dolphins and the Ravens. And the game is, Buffalo ain't afraid to go into Kansas City. The last 2 regular seasons, Buffalo's gone in there and beat Kansas City in Arrowhead. So they're not going to be like, oh, no, this is scary. They're used to it. And, of course, we know they had them on the ropes and, really messed up a playoff game in Kansas City where they should have probably won. So, that's where that's where it's going to be fun to see because you're going to have a little desperation for both teams as far as one staying in the playoff race and the other one staying in the number 1 seed race.
I feel like the Chiefs are not going to get the 1 seed.
It
a
doesn't
week
feel
ago,
like it.
I believe that how it all played out at the end of the day, they're the ones, they're battle-hardened, they know the stakes, they understand the importance of it. But to lose like they did on Sunday night against the Packers, spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. The spirit's always going to be there as long as you have Patrick Mahomes. He just doesn't have enough around him. And this pectoral thing, usually when it's an arm injury, they tell you right or left for a quarterback.
Yeah.
With Josh Allen, it's not just shoulder, it's right shoulder.
Right.
Right wrist, left wrist. Pec, I guess, falls beyond the range of injuries where they have to specify a side of the body. I'm going to try to find out whether it's right or left.
The fact that they left it out would make me think that it's a right pectoral, right? That's what makes me think it is. If it was a left pectoral, I think they'd write that. The fact that it's right pectoral, I think they don't like that. So they didn't want to put that out there into the universe and give the Bills any ideas or let anybody know. We know how, the secrecy goes in that kind of conversation.
Well, and look at it this way. They would have probably preferred not to put it on the injury report at all, but it's apparently bad enough that he got treatment at the facility for it because that's where it's undeniable. You can't hide it. You can, but you're providing a smoking gun if and when the NFL comes looking for evidence of an existing injury. You got treatment at the facility, and there's records of treatment that were provided by your training staff to Patrick Mahomes. So it's not just some little bump or bruise. It's something that requires attention, and he's gotten attention for it, and he's trying to play through it, and he was able to fully participate in practice yesterday, which is good. We'll see about today. We'll see about tomorrow. I want to find out which side, right or left.
Yeah,
I
think it's
assume
important.
that during the various media availabilities this week, he'll be asked, or someone will be asked, right or left, which is it? So I think that information should be out there by the time the game gets started, and the stakes are high for both teams. The Bills had, and we showed the power rankings yesterday, they went up 3 spots by default. It was a great week for a team that is 6-6 to not play. Steelers lost, Browns lost, Broncos lost, and here we are in that cluster of teams at 6-6 that are in position to possibly make a move down the stretch. And they'll be dangerous. I've said this a few times.
Right.
If they get in, if you're any of the teams in the left column,
Josh Allen
you don't want
town.
the last of all the teams on the page.
100%.
Wild card are in the hunt. The last team you want showing up in the postseason in your building is the team that's in the last spot on this page.
Agreed. I mean, what you tell me? You want to play DTR or Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky, Gardner Minshew, or do you want Josh freaking Allen coming to town? That's exactly right. And that's why 3 weeks ago, they go, man, Buffalo, they're in trouble. They can't. They're not going to be able to get to the playoffs. But with how things have kind of shaken out here, Cleveland and the quarterback injuries and Deshaun Watson and Pittsburgh and the way they're going, I mean, they're certainly not out of this playoff race by any stretch of the imagination. And like you said, they are dangerous. They have playoff merit. They're not going to be scared of any football team. They got to go play Miami. They're going to be like, well, we've been owning Miami for the last 3 years. What the hell do we care that they're got a seed higher than us? So that to your point. And that's what's going to be fun about this game Sunday, too. It's going to have a different look than the other Josh Allen Mahomes matchups we've had, right? I think I'm excited. It's Allen, we know, but it's the best Chiefs defense Allen's had to play against since he's been the starting quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. They get in your face and play man-to-man, and I don't know if Buffalo's got the type of guys that are going to be able to separate from Kansas City and get open against this coverage. So that's going to be interesting. You flip it around, and this is the first time Sean McDermott and the Bills on that side of the ball, they're going to go, wait, we don't have to worry about all the pass game stuff. In fact, it's really we have to stop the run game and Pacheco and just a few plays from Mahomes every game. So it is going to have a different look there. And then Buffalo's not the best on run defense, and we know Kansas City can run the ball this year. The thing is to your point, can Kansas City win some of these games against some of these good teams, running the football and doing that way? They ran the ball pretty good last week. It still wasn't good enough. They couldn't beat the Packers. They ran the ball pretty good against the Philadelphia Eagles. Still wasn't good enough, right? I mean, I am worried. I've been worried. You know that. 7 weeks ago, I was going, the Chiefs' offense is not the same. It's not. They miss Eric Bieniemy to a degree, and they don't know what they are or who they are on offense. They're trying to be a power run football team, but I don't know if that's really deep in the Andy Reid DNA. I think they're being forced to do that because it's their best and only option right now. And the emergence or non-emergence of a go-to receiver is an issue for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, one team's 8-4, one team's 6-6, but I don't think the difference between those two teams is as much as that record would show you. I think it's very, very close matchup here.
Chiefs did not miss Tyreek Hill last year in large part because they were determined to show that they could win without him, and they did. This year they miss him. This year, they think of how much better they would be this year if they still had Tyreek Hill.
The run game with a guy like him. Yeah, you're right. Right.
And the defense has been so good, although it ultimately didn't hold up against the Packers on Sunday night. It's not like they gave up 45 points. They held the Packers low enough that if the Chiefs' offense had come through, they would have and should have and could have won the game. So the Chiefs have a lot of work to do to get to where they want to be. There hasn't been a repeat champion in the NFL since the 03-04 Patriots. And, that's one of the things we have to keep our eye on, the fact that the Chiefs played so long last year. There's a certain amount of physical toll. There's just that idea of we just climbed the top of the mountain. It's hard to muster that well. There's always somebody hungrier than the team that just won the championship. There's always somebody else out there who wants it worse than the team that just won it because that team just won it.
Yeah,
so the Bills clearly are hungry. The Bills had lost their way. The Bills now have this reprieve that they've been granted, or at least the potential to earn a reprieve from the governor, as it looked like the Jenga tower. The Jenga tower fell, and they've been finding a way to rebuild it. And we'll see how much time they spent during their bye week putting those logs or planks or whatever the hell they're called back together again, because they do have the potential to get in. And if they get in, they could be dangerous. They could be one of those teams that's the last one to the table that ends up kicking the hell out of everybody, like we saw the Packers do in 2010, We saw the Giants kind of do it in 2011 as the 5 seed. We saw the Steelers do it in 2005 as the last team in. Maybe that happens for the Bills. Because, think of it this way, Chris. They will have a nothing-to-lose mentality. So much different than when you're the top seed.
Sure.
And you're the front runner.
Yeah.
And everyone expects you to win.
Right.
And, we can't. We got to be careful. We're going to blow everything we work for. Instead of, hey, we weren't even supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Let's go kick some butt.
That's right. And then you talk about that and add that on to a year where, as we sit here going into week 14, right? As we go into week 14, yeah, we're going to week 14. As we go into it, you sit here and go, at least I do, I go, there's really, I think, only one great team in football right now. It's the 49ers. The Eagles are real good. I'm not going to say they're great. The Ravens have shown when they're at their best, they look great, but their valley, when they, their peaks and valleys is a big difference. When they're valley, they really are like, whoa, that's not all that impressive, right? It's a year where it seems like, we just talked about the Dolphins. They're the number 1 seed, and we go, they haven't beat one damn good team the whole year, right? So it feels like a year where if the Buffalo Bills got in with the Josh Allen and McDermott game plan on the defensive side, that they could pull off some upsets, because I just don't know if, we'll see if the Ravens can become that dominant team in the AFC, or the Dolphins can be to where we go, they're great, or they're on the cusp of being great. But right now they're not, and that means it's wide open, and it's about as wide open as I can remember in recent history here.
How about Bills 49ers Super Bowl, the annual Chris Berman Super Bowl prediction that never came to fruition back in the 90s. And the Bills win because Jake Moody goes wide right on a 49-yard field goal.
You're just going to do that to my friend? You're going to do that to Shanahan? You're going to have him lose on wide right? What a jerk you are.
Well, better than blowing a 28-3 lead, which would also be possible.
Yeah, it is better than that. We'll see, but you're right. Yeah. We'll see. It could be interesting, and I don't count them out because of the reasons you talked about with Buffalo.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.